Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I need not pause to say how very delighted I am to be here tonight, and how very delighted I am to see you expressing your concern about the issues that will be discussed tonight by turning out in such large numbers. I come to this magnificent house of worship tonight because my conscience leaves me no other choice. A time comes when silence is betrayal. That time has come for us, nor does the human spirit move without great difficulty against all the apathy of conformist thought within one's own bosom and in the surrounding world. Moreover, when the issues at hand seem as perplexing as they often do, in the case of this dreadful conflict, we are always on the verge of being mesmerized by uncertainty. But we must move on, even when pressed by the demands of inner truth. Men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war. Some of us who have already begun to break the silence of the night have found that the calling to speak is often a vocation of agony, but we must speak. We must speak with all the humility that is appropriate to our limited vision, but we must speak. And we must rejoice as well, for surely this is the first time in our nation's history that a new spirit is rising among us. If it is, let us trace its movements and pray that our own inner being may be sensitive to its guidance. For we are deeply in need of a new way beyond the darkness that seems so close to my beloved nation, my fellow Americans. Since I am a preacher by calling, I suppose it is not surprising that I have some major reasons to speak from the burnings of my own heart. I have tried to offer them my deepest compassion while maintaining my conviction that social change comes most meaningfully through nonviolent action, without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. The more sophisticated surely realize that we are on the side of the wealthy and the secure while we create a hell for the poor. Somehow this madness must cease. We must stop now. I speak as a child of God. I speak for those whose land is being laid waste, whose homes are being destroyed, whose culture is being subverted. I speak for the poor of America, who are paying the double price of smashed hopes and homes. I speak as a citizen of the world, for the world as it stands aghast at the path we have taken. I speak as one who loves America, to the leaders of our own nation. It is curious that the Americans who calculate so carefully on the possibilities of military victory do not realize that in the process they are incurring deep psychological and political defeat. The image of America will never again be the image of revolution, freedom, and democracy, but the image of violence and militarism. We continue, there will be no doubt in my mind and in the mind of the world that we have no honorable intentions within the American spirit. And we must rapidly begin the shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society, when machines and computers, profit motives and property rights are considered more important than people. The giant triplets of racism, extreme materialism, and militarism are incapable of being conquered. A true revolution of values will soon cause us to question the fairness and justice of many of our past and present policies that we must all protest. Every man of humane convictions must decide on the protest that best suits his convictions. Beyond the calling of race or nation or creed is this vocation of sonship and brotherhood, because I believe that the Father is deeply concerned, especially for his suffering and helpless and outcast children, off on what in some circles has become a popular crusade, that strangely anonymous group we call Anonymous. These two are our brothers. I come tonight to speak for them. We will be marching for these and a dozen other names and attending rallies without end, unless there is a significant and profound change in American life and policies. We must question, what must they think of the United States of America? They realize that we permitted the repression and cruelty which helped to bring them into being as a resistance group and brotherhood. We cannot blame them for such thoughts. We must speak for them and raise the questions they raise, while they may have justifiable reasons to be suspicious of the good faith of the United States. Life and history give eloquent testimony to the fact that conflicts are never resolved without trustful give and take on both sides. It is with such activity in mind that the words of the late John F. Kennedy come back to haunt us, when he said, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable." This is the role our nation has taken, the role of those who make peaceful revolution impossible by refusing to give up the privileges and the pleasures that come from the immense profits of overseas investments. We as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values. Meanwhile, we in the churches and synagogues have a continuing task while we urge our government to disengage itself from a disgraceful commitment. We must continue to raise our voices in our lives. If our nation persists in its perverse ways, we must be prepared to match actions with words by seeking out every creative method of protest possible. We will be able to transform this pending cosmic elegy into a creative psalm of peace. We will be able to transform the jangling discords of our world into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. If we will but make the right choice, we will be able to speed up the day all over America and all over the world, when justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.